Alright, so we're going to start the tour out here. This is my outside area. I don't do a lot for the microgreens here, but this is just like a covered area. And we work on the microgreens out here in the summer. We use this to spin dry the sunflower shoots, just change it to spin. We go right in there and spin dry. And we use these, we put them in these to spin dry them. They're just big, large laundry bags. And you have to balance them. And you put one bag on each side and they'll spin. They get nice and dry and you throw them up on this rack. I just built this out of 1/4-inch steel mesh. And it's just sitting on here. It actually just holds in on that side piece of siding there. But I've never had it fall down. And up above are a couple fans we use to dry. We turn those on to finish dry a lot of our vegetables, our greens, and sunflower shoots as well. And this is easy to clean. We just pull it down, you just kick it a couple times on one side and it comes nice and clean. There's just some cleaning tools, and this is the we actually use this when we clean the sunflower shoots. We fill up a bucket, fill up a tub, and then this we press down on top of the tub. You'll see it during the week while we're growing, and that strains out. It pushes down the sunflower shoots, and then you can pull the hulls off the top with this little strainer here. We got a bigger strainer too, but that's mostly I mostly use that just for transferring greens from bin to bin. Not as much for the microgreens. And then we store some of our small tubs out here. These are the smaller Rubbermaid tubs. We have holes punched in them so they get a little bit of cold air over them when we move stuff into the product into the walk-in or into the refrigerator inside. And we store some extra flats out here and big pile in the garage as well. But the ones out here are the ones that are mainly where we have enough we need right now for our production we're doing. So when we take stuff out to the compost, if we don't wash it right away, then we just stack it there, and that's the need washed pile pretty much. That's about it for out here. We have this table that we work at, and you gotta have a hammock if you got a farm so you can take siestas. It's crucial. This bin up here, the big bin, is what we use to wash our trays. And we got a hose running here. We've got a few other hoses for the farm and for our irrigation system and everything, but we use that to fill up our tubs when we're washing our microgreens. Now I'll take you inside here and change out my battery. It's about to die. Alright, so I got a new battery on. Let's go inside, get this tour underway. This is my office here in microgreens growing room. I'm going to try and take you through everything real slow. Explain it all, but if you have any questions, let me know. So we're running the standard, I think it's 5600K grow lights, T5s. We've got 6 lights here, and they're just hooked to these shelves with the whatever brackets they came with. Some of them are a little different. These ones I rigged up. Got a couple different lights here, and we keep a lot of we store the main part of our clamshells out in the garage, but we bring some in here when we start to run low or restock them. Keep our cash box in here. All the rest of our farmers market stuff is out in the garage. I'll show you that, where we store that. Or we store it, just keep it in the car we use for the farmers market. This is kind of the germination area, these 2 shelves, or a waiting area. These are waiting to be harvested a day. And we've got some of these that I built in, zip tied to the shelf. And that's for when we're stacking big stacks of sunflower shoots. They just hold everything. You really don't need this middle one. If you had one in the middle, that'd probably be good enough, because two will kind of play off each other. But sometimes it is helpful if the racks aren't full. And just keeps everything from getting too tall and then falling over, if that makes sense. And when stuff's in germination, we stack the bricks on top. I'll have a link to these bricks. These are the ones we use. They're a good weight. And we use some old garden bricks as well on some of them. And all of our lights, we have this, we screwed this lid in here over the electrical, just so no water comes down on it and causes a short or anything, causes someone to get electrocuted. But everything's on a timer, and we have a midweek harvest on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday we harvest that, and that then we just plug in the rest of the Friday harvest when we need those lights as well, when we stack all those trays in. So this one's always going. And then we add these on for part of the week, if that makes sense. And we have our heat mats that we can plug in if we need them. It's pretty warm in here right now, so we don't need them. And also a fan that I sometimes use to dry greens over there. If they seem like they're a little moist, I'll blast that on them and try and dry the foliage. And this is our dirt bin where we keep all of our soil. It's a pretty big bin. And it's got a scooper in there. And that stores right under here. We keep our soil mix for that over here stacked up. We'll usually buy a few at a time, 5 or 6, and stack them high. And then that fan just gets moved over by this chair here or on top of there and pointed down. And this is what we use to screen our soil. You'll get to see that in action. That's a 1/2-inch steel mesh. And just old scrap wood. We run a few fans. We got a fan going there. We got a fan going there. Fan going there. We got that fan sometimes. And that gives us plenty of good air circulation in here, but also need a dehumidifier for much of the year. So that kicks on. We turn that on, and that just keeps running. And when it has an automatic discharge, we just have a little hole in the ground that just discharges down into the crawl space of our house. And our crawl space has a sump pump, of course, but it doesn't empty that much water out. This is like a printing station. We print our labels and stuff here. I print my artwork. I also sell a bunch of artwork. That's what this other point of this studio is. This whole closet here is full of art stuff, so that's sort of irrelevant, but nothing microgreens related in there. We keep some of our sanitation stuff up here. We got some distilled water for mixing with hydrogen peroxide, some extra bottles, vinegar, funnels, and we keep in here, we keep the hydrogen peroxide. This is the 35% or 30%, whatever it is. I think it's 35, and we dilute that down as needed. And we keep a lot of our seed in here as well, and product when it's waiting. This is full of product here. And lots of seed in here as well. Lots of different seed, mostly for the farm, and some microgreen stuff in there for some of the smaller specialty crops. And I have this thing running in here. This was an old freezer, so you can buy these things. If I was starting from scratch, I got this for free, but if I was doing a small microgreens operation and I wanted some storage space for crops that you're waiting on, I would buy a small chest freezer and get one of these, because it'd be super efficient compared to a refrigerator. So I forget what these are called, but it's just a control module that regulates the temperature and will convert a chest freezer into a refrigerator essentially. So it just turns it off when it doesn't need power. But having a chest freezer, an upright chest freezer, would be really efficient. It wouldn't lose any of that any of that cold temperature when you opened it. So that's what I would get if I was starting over. Keep some seed over here, so that doesn't fit in the fridge. Pea and sunflowers. And we keep some extra, when we have extra bags of that, it's in our bedroom closet, which is in the other part of the house, so I just take that around and fill it up every once in a while when I need to. And we also keep some trays up here that are sanitized and ready to go. We have slotted and unslotted, and 1020 is mainly what we use. So let me see what else. We've got some paperwork for the microgreens operation in here that we use, like the schedule sheet, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I said that weekly schedule sheet. You'll see that throughout the video. And then we use the farmers market checklist. On the other side is our market record for the day. Just store those in here with the rest of our other stuff, other files. We got a mop and a broom. We use those a lot. And then the dustpan, of course, you'll need. We try and keep our floor pretty clean. We sweep it up quite a bit. And then usually on Fridays after our big harvest, I'll quickly sanitize the shelves and maybe mop most weeks. I got a little bucket down here that I use to put the mop water in. And so down under here, we've got our soil press. We use that to press everything in. This is our harvest bin. You'll see that used in conjunction with that large brick there. And these are our soaking tubs. Extra lids and stuff. We have the one lid that has the holes in it that we use to strain everything. And this tarp stays on this table quite often. It'll come off sometimes on Tuesday, Wednesday until Friday, and when we're harvesting. And I like having the tarp on there just because there's always dirt getting on here, so I can just pull it all off and go dump it outside without getting a bunch of dirt everywhere all the time. This is some radish seed that we're planting tomorrow in these flats. You'll see why that is. And scale we keep over here, and our other scale we use for salad mix and some other farm crops, and the microgreens we keep up here. This is our watering system. It's just a small watering wand on here, onto this faucet, and it's got multiple different settings. We use this light rinse quite often. It's got fairly low pressure, but it's fine. It works for what we're doing. I like low pressure most of the time, but I'm thinking about actually getting a bigger hose. I think the low pressure is just because it's small hose. And a little bit of cleaning supplies up here if we need them. We do use those. What else? Oh, I guess let's look at some of these tools up here. We've just got some extra timers. Good to have lighting in there in your room, and humidity and temperature gauge, motivational sign. It's always important when you're running a business. This is just for making plugs for this and this are both for seeding other stuff on the farm, not for microgreens. So we got gloves. We got some top spray. This is made with the food safe hydrogen peroxide, but we just use an old bottle of regular store-bought hydrogen peroxide because it's dark. You're supposed to have a dark bottle with hydrogen peroxide. And we got a vinegar spray, paper towels. Important to have a fire extinguisher, and we also mounted a fire detector, smoke alarm above the microgreens so we could hear that. Our bedroom's on the other side of this wall. This is an old door into the other part of the house that's boarded up now. So I just enter the office from the outside. I installed this door. I installed this floor here. There was carpet in here, so I took that out, and this is not wood, this is vinyl, so it's easy to clean. That is a door to the bathroom over there. We have a bathroom in here as well. And let's see what else over here. We got tape so we can label stuff. We always keep a marker over here. Got a harvesting knife. This I don't really use much anymore. We use this a lot to harvest sunflower and peas. You'll see that in action. I don't know if I told you, we got a couple different dilutions, a couple different strengths of the hydrogen peroxide we use for different purposes. Paper towels, twisty ties for bags. We got bags up there. And this is a knife sharpener we use. The rest of this stuff we don't really use for microgreens much. Trying to think if there's anything else I may have missed here. I'm sure there is. Let me just look around for a second. I think I covered most of it. Yeah, that's about it. Let's go look outside at the rest of the operation. I'll just show you. We've got our urban farm. We have 3 plots here in town, and one of our plots is here at the house. So I'll show you that real quick, just for shits and giggles. But we do have microgreens we set outside sometimes. Pea shoots we like to grow outside quite often. And here's some growing here, and then here's the some cut ones from the Tuesday market that we're going to today. We got salad mix and everything, but yeah, we set these back out and they'll regrow outside, so we'll get a second cut off the pea shoots. This is the base to our walk-in cooler. We're in the process of moving the walk-in into the garage. So we're having a nice, so we want to try and push more crops into winter this year. We want to have our walk-in in the garage. We want to create more of a weatherproof room for processing. Part of the year, during the peak of the summer, we might move some of it inside with the air conditioning, and during the winter, we'll have it in the garage. Let's go look at I'll just show you the rest of the stuff. That's about it for the microgreens. And I'll show you the front yard and backyard real quick, and that's about it for the full tour. Some beds out in our front yard. We keep 6 beds out here. This is where we grow a lot of cut flowers too, and that's the basics of that. A lot of zinnias and sunflowers. And then I'll take you around back real quick. This is kind of like our kitchen garden. We got a few things coming in here. We didn't get too much this year. And this is a perennial flower bed. And then these are more cut flowers over here. And then I've got a few beds back here. This is Swiss chard, and then a few lettuces I just ripped out that I'm getting ready to replant, and kale, and some herbs, and some carrots over here, and some more flowers and other beds that I'm getting ready to replant. And then we got the tomatoes all on the back there. I've got 2 50-foot rows of tomatoes, and that's pretty much it. And we have 2 other plots here in town. One that's a little bit bigger than this and has a similar mix. Well, actually no flowers, all produce. And then a 3rd plot that has some flowers and then a bouquet filler. It's more of a naturalized area.